What's up, folks? This is just Fox making yet another YouTube video. This video shall be focusing on world travel. Sorry, I know it's a bit hard to read because of my shirt. There we go. No, world travel. Basically, well, as I was watching something on TV, I kind of became fascinated with how things are done in other cultures around the globe. You know? And, it's kind of interesting to see how different things are between one group and another. And with the US, it seems more apparent than when you go somewhere else in the UK, and somewhere else in the globe on Earth. It seems like the US does the most things different, yet when you look at some things, you can see that it stems from those other countries as a source. Here's an example. There's some people that celebrate Cinco de Mayo in the US, and they're not even Latino whatsoever. And I know that, well, from what I'm aware of, that's a holiday from Mexico, I think. It's a celebration of the 5th of May. Cinco de Mayo, 5th of May. And then there are other things like Mardi Gras, which, as I was told, means Grand Tuesday. And that's translated into English from French. Yeah, Mardi Gras being French to English word Grand Tuesday. And there's several others. Let's see. Also, several words that the US has that English has attained from other languages, and it's really sometimes it's really easy to tell which words go to which, as I've learned as I studied a different language. Other words, you need to actually take a closer look at what they are. Even with the most common languages like Spanish, French, those languages. It's just interesting how things are done differently. Like how cultures are very different. Like, each country has its own unique kind of thing. Like France, that's the only country in Europe where they drive on the right side of the road, not the left. And I find that interesting, even though others really don't give a damn. The US is the only country that has the imperial measurement system over the metric. I have no idea why it's called imperial, because it's just inches, feet, yards, etc. I don't know, it just feels kind of weird. I'm also kind of curious on why they do that, because everywhere else around the globe, as far as I know, they go by this measurement, the meter. That's by centimeter all the way up to kilometer. Or kilometer. Sorry, I just hear pronounced different ways. But there's also the pronunciation from different cultures. Because in the US, I'm aware that there are several different dialects. There's the regular dialect, the Western dialect, where they like where they speak like this. Sorry, that was horrible. And then there's a southern dialect. Speaking a little droll, as I've heard. There's the eastern dialect, where it's wow. I'm not going to make comments on it because you know. And then the dialects from other races, like there's like Caucasians have their own dialect. It's like there's a black dialect, the African American dialect, we'll call it that. And the Latino dialect, and the Asian dialect. Now that still feels weird to say Asian because they're not the only people from Asia. There's multiple other people from Asia. Russian people are from Asia, depending on which city they live in. Let's see what else. Indian people are from Asia. India's in Asia. You know, there's several other countries in that place. I'm pointing to the back wall because, you know, I'm just trying to set a little thought. I don't have a map, okay? I don't have a globe. Whatever. You get my point. And, well, I've noticed that, well, I can notice that US isn't the only country that does it. You know, I know there are different dialects in England as well. And then there are different... Well, then, as I've heard different people from other countries speak English, like French people, you always assume that... Oh, it's always been assumed that they pronounce their THs as Zs, and they don't say the H's at all unless they're laughing. And I found that it's not always the case for either one. I've met several French people, and you know, it's interesting because they do say the THs like THs, or sometimes they would say as these. And other places, like other people, they do pronounce, like they do have the H's, or they don't. You know, it's like, what I heard was more common that they pronounce their THs as THs, but they don't even say the H's. But then. And then there's, yeah, like the Spanish English dialects. Like Spanish dialects for English language, it's easier to understand. You know, there's all the assumptions so far that I've heard are correct as far as I know. I haven't met that many Spanish people. The Australian dialect, I'm aware of. You know, sometimes it is the case how they sound like that, other times it's not. No further comment on that. I've only met one Australian person, and that was my professor. At least I think he's Australian. Maybe New Zealand, either way. And going back to foreign countries speaking English, the German dialect for English language. This is what we always believe. This is how they say their THs. This is how... Whoops. That's how they say their W's. And I met several German people, and never once have I heard either one of these things. Oops, that's not the eraser. You know, and with Russia, like I've always assumed that they don't actually pronounce the W's as V's, but then I heard Anton Yelchin, the new Chekhov for Star Trek, and he completely confused me on what the Russian dialect actually sounds like, because he's from Leningrad. Ugh, mercy me. But you know, I'll learn. But he's one of those people that actually, THs as Z's, W's as V's, and V's as W's for some reason I don't understand. But, I'll learn. So that's, if I continue on from now, I'll just be rambling on about some things I may not know that aren't entirely fact. Anyways, that's all I got. Thank you for watching. I do appreciate it. You can leave a comment below. Subscribe if you want. Just leave any kind of sign that you were watching. Thank you, and have a good day. This is Jasper Fox signing out.